by IT&E.
Hafide and welcome to Weekend Edition. Glad you could join us. This week, President Donald Trump approved the Guam National Guard's request for an extension of Title 32F authority. According to the Adjutant General, Esther Agigi, this means Guam has received federal dollars to support the COVID-19 response mission. Currently, the National Guard has been detailed to support various missions all over Guam. This includes community mass testing, quarantine facilities, providing aid with the state surgeon support, working with local law enforcement agencies, manning food distributions, and helping the Guam Department of Education with reopening schools. Now with this extension, this assistance can continue until the end of the year on December 31st. According to the tag, in anticipation for this, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero has authorized the use of state active duty.
Expertise and institutional knowledge. So that's state funds to be used to support the ongoing pandemic response using state money, and she's very pleased, and she's very supportive of the Guam National Guard remaining on this duty until the unforeseen future. We're building this playbook as we go. There is no playbook to respond to COVID-19.
Since the National Guard was activated in March, the tag informs that the federal government has paid about $3.7 million to be on duty. Now with this extension, the Guard projects from this point until December, it will cost $4.1 million federal dollars. But this comes with provisions, she explains.
The provision is the federal government gives us 75% of the money, but the state has to provide 25% of that to keep us on duty. So with federal dollars, we anticipate spending about $4.1 million, and the state expenditure would be about a 1.3.
The Adjutant General says that estimated $1.3 million of state funding would be sourced through the CARES Act. The Adjutant General Esther Agigi continues with performing a dual role, as she is also GovGuam's Homeland Security Advisor. The governor asked the tag to take the acting position after previous agency head Tim Uggan was detailed to the Veterans Affairs Office following the resignation of former Director Fred Bordalio. During an interview this week with KUAM, we asked Agigi how the transition has been.
I was absolutely delighted, and I welcome the opportunity. We do pretty much the same thing, and that's just to protect, people and property and businesses from acts of terrorism or natural or man-made disasters. And that's basically what we do in the National Guard, and with the Homeland Security mission, they do about the same thing. I think the only difference is that with the Office of Homeland Security and Office of Civil Defense, there are a lot of federal partners that work alongside with them regularly, and we don't work with federal partners as often. But the missions are the same.
The tag was placed in the acting position last month. Parent-teacher organization leaders joined Chris and Bria on The Link to share their thoughts on the reopening of public schools with a new norm to be followed this calendar year. JFK PTO leader Ralph Rivera says the Guam Department of Education agency heads have been in constant communication with the parents since the early stages of the pandemic and made safety a top priority.
When you look at each individual school, JFK for instance, they've got this protocol in there that's just insane. And what I mean by that is they got lines drawn in the hallways, they got right-of-ways, they have rules about separation and mask and things of that nature. So there was a lot of work put into this. So as a parent, I'm very confident of the protocols of what we know today, that they've really taken a lot of safety precautions. So I'm very confident of it.
As we reported, the official start date has been set for August 17th, with the majority of students partaking in distance learning this year. And in this next story, we zoom in with two Marianas-rooted artists tying connections across the archipelago and Pacific diaspora through art and hair. Mickey Davis's Gapatulo as Portal captures memory and tradition through hair.
So it's something that I have been developing for quite a long time, over a year. I've really wanted to kind of use my hair as an instrument.
The LA-based artist with roots in agate and sumai, drawing inspiration from the Chamorro legend about a group of women weaving their hair into an enormous net to capture a giant fish to save the island. her piece featured in a digital gallery.
I don't think of my ancestry as something that's, you know, I don't take it lighthearted. I feel that there are a lot of moves and things that have happened in our family's past. You know, great highs, great lows, and tragedies, and that's the stuff that I'm working through.
In times of isolation, it's an expression through body and photos.
I'm not able to go to my studio where I have a lot of space, and so I found it only fitting that I would try to use that surface and the confines of my house to try to grapple with this.
She also grappled with a deeply personal story when her hair was cut as a child on Guam as a punishment and she felt disempowered. She hasn't cut her hair since 2013.
I just feel like it's so loaded. It has so much of me, but it also has so much of my ancestors in it.
Sid Duenas from Saipan, now in LA, initiated the FGCE Digital Gallery Space.
It's very purposeful to have her inaugurate this project because we share the same culture and the same background, and I really enjoy Mickey's work. I think she's her art spans different mediums.
You can view the artwork at fg-ce.info. The number of single-family homes sold this year is way down, but the median price for a house has gone up. That was one of the more interesting findings of a recent study of the local housing market by Siska Hudapea of Cornerstone Valuation. Speaking before the Rotary Club of Tumon Bay, she said the very limited supply of single-family dwellings is what's driving prices up. She gave an example of a small housing development in Santa Rita.
One particular transaction, it was acquired in September 2019 for $100,000, and it was sold for $300,000 after a little bit of renovation. So that shows you that there are really strong demand, but very limited supply as far as housing goes.
The median price for a single-family home last year was $286,000. It's gone up this year by about 10% to $315,000. And they've been recognized as outstanding teachers for their contributions to teaching and learning of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and computer science. Guam Department of Education teachers Dimfinia Pauline San Nicolas Diaz and Lali Thandiel was selected as recipients of the Presidential Awards for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching, according to a GDOE release. The honor, administered by the National Science Foundation on behalf of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, comes with a certificate signed by President Donald Trump and a $10,000 award. San Nicolas Diaz currently is a math teacher at Tizon High School. Tandil currently teaches science at FB Leon Guerrero Middle School. And a proclamation signing on Thursday at Adelub declared the week as Guam's Farmers Market Week. Farmers Cooperative Association President Tom Camacho.
Farmers markets preserve farmland and livelihood. We must work harder to protect Guam's farmland and realize that without a new generation of farmers, stronger local food system, there would be no one to work the land, protected or not. And lastly, farmers markets stimulate local economies.
He also added that nationally in 2017, more than $22.4 million in SNAP benefits were redeemed at farmers markets, bringing more local produce to those in need. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero spoke about future plans.
There are resources we can, like I said, invest in the farmers market through GIDA grants. And we have already awarded some monies to the GIDA grant, and of course our plan to grow it to an industry where we can export would be working with the University of Guam. We'd be working with the Department of Agriculture, the Guam Economic Development, and also the farmers market.
She says there's an active task force looking at policy, finances, and networking for a robust system, including exporting within Micronesia and into the Asia-Pacific region. Stay tuned. Next on Weekend Edition, we have Trendspotting Report with Adriana Cotero, and still to come, Sports with Dave Delgado. Keep it here.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Our biggest SUV, the Palisade, and our smallest SUV, the Venue. Remember, it's not the size of the dog in your adventure, but the size of the adventure in your dog. Big or small, it's better in a Hyundai SUV.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Join KUAM News every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. on TV8 and streaming live on the KUAM News Facebook page for In Full Zoom, a half-hour program zooming in on efforts to rebuild Guam's economy. Nestor Lecanto will interview a panel of guests from the business sector via Zoom to discuss their ideas and suggestions on how the island can rebound from the devastating blow from COVID-19. From struggles to strategies to get Guam back on the road to economic recovery. Check out In Full Zoom Wednesdays on KUAM Digital and KUAM TV8 at 6:30 p.m. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. Check KUAM.com or our mobile news app for additional showtimes.
No waiting in line to see your doctor or to pick up your medication. From tips to living a healthier lifestyle, nutrition and fitness, to the latest wellness trends. Stay healthy by checking in for your weekly dose of health news on Health Check every Tuesday on KUAM News Extra. Health Check is presented by Island Cancer Center.
COVID is on the rise and the island is responding. From schools to restaurants, businesses are having to close their doors after employees have tested positive. I'm Adriana Cachero, here with your Trend Spotting report. Establishments temporarily closing one right after the other seemed like a trend on its own this week. In each case, a person from the establishment was found to have COVID-19. From Father Duenas Memorial School to several restaurants and other businesses and even another grab-and-go site. The temporary closures were followed by deep cleaning and monitoring of employees. Other establishments chose to remain open, but also took measures to ensure the safety of their employees and patrons. This trend comes after more cases of COVID-19 were reported. On Monday, there were 9, Tuesday 7, Wednesday another spike at 14, and Thursday there were 8 new reports, and 14 again on Friday. That's certainly above the comfortable threshold of the 5-day rolling average the government uses. However, it's important to note the test positivity rate is still way below the 3% threshold, meaning the 400-plus cases were found in the over 24,000 test samples. This comes on the heels of a new school year, one Father Duenas had just began. A KUAM News poll asked if you thought public schools should delay the August 17th opening in light of the new cases, and a whopping 79% responded with a resounding yes. And here are some of your thoughts. One viewer says, we must remember that 1 + 1 always equals 2, and likewise, the reopening and the correlated uptick in positives should be a no-brainer in deciding a response. Another viewer says, yes, delay the opening. Susie Bloss shares her views, saying teachers and staff should carry a yardstick, or rolled up paper from a cardboard box, or extend their arms out side by side, then place hands on their side to distance themselves, then left to right flank after pivoting, etc. Students will get the idea, just an idea. Also a COVID hot topic this week was the release of the sorely needed pandemic unemployment assistance funds, a double batch of it. Distribution went on hold last week after numerous instances of fraudulent claims had to be investigated by the Department of Labor and the FBI. Most of the bogus claims were coming from off-island. Some $50 million were to be mailed out or deposited electronically, including 7,000 new claim payments. Take a look at these comments. One of our top fans says consistent, predictable communication is key. People are relying on these funds for their livelihood during this pandemic. FPUC extension is imminent. Plan accordingly and communicate early. Jasmine Calvo says, so first on the 28th, then changed to August 4th, August 5th, and now August 6th. Why does it keep changing dates? Then they say it was sent out, but an update is saying that they won't be getting it until next Tuesday or Wednesday. Is there a reason why so many changes and excuses and setbacks? Another viewer says to Jasmine that they've noticed that too. Merle says, heading out today? Really? With the past dates always changing? It's going to be heading out by canoe. And we're going to take a step away from the pandemic for another issue that will affect all of us. We're cleaning up our act come January 1st with the ban on plastic bags. But Senator Regine Bisco-Lee, who isn't seeking re-election this year, will take it a step further with a bill that will also ban reusable plastic bags. Lee says the term biodegradable plastic is a bit of a misnomer in the way that the clean coal is. While the bags do degrade faster than non-biodegradable ones, the bags turn into micro and nanoplastics quicker. Another KUAM poll shows 72% shows respondents support the proposed ban. There was a lot to say about this topic. Another top fan says, there's more important things this island needs. When I buy at high prices I shouldn't have to pay for something to carry it home. Just my opinion. Tasha says, so bring your own bags? Another viewer says, I rarely shop at Cost You Less because they don't give bags. The bags the other stores give disintegrate in a short time and get repurposed. I normally use the bags 2 or 3 times. And this week, family members visited the site of the Korean airline crash site in Nimitz Hill to remember the victims lost on August 6, 1997. It's been 23 years and it's still a painful memory for Ina Lee, whose brother Kui Cho perished in the tragic crash. She told KUAM News, quote, it was really hard for me to live a life after my brother left when I was working for Korean Air, but God is giving us that he is in heaven with no pain and resting in peace. So we got faith that we can live with. But every moment, every year on the anniversary is painfulness to feel his soul, and he was my closest brother, Lee said. Cho was one among 229 lives lost that terrible day, and like several others, his body was never recovered. This one time a year is the only chance Lee and others have to visit the site where their loved ones were lost. You know the drill, mask up, wash your hands, and keep distancing. We'll see you here next week on Trendspotting.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Join KUAM News every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. on TV8 and streaming live on the KUAM News Facebook page for In Full Zoom, a half-hour program zooming in on efforts to rebuild Guam's economy. Nestor Lecanto will interview a panel of guests from the business sector via Zoom to discuss their ideas and suggestions on how the island can rebound from the devastating blow from COVID-19. From struggles to strategies to get Guam back on the road to economic recovery. Check out In Full Zoom Wednesdays on KUAM Digital and KUAM TV8 at 6:30 p.m. In Full Zoom to you by Calvo Enterprises Inc. Check KUAM.com or our mobile news app for additional showtimes.
We're all in this together, and that means we all need to continue to do our part.
Now, we've all done an effective job of containing COVID throughout the Marianas, but we need to continue to maintain to stop the spread.
We can't let our guard down. Each and every one of us are soldiers in this war against COVID-19, and every day is a battle.
It may sound hard to believe, but combating COVID requires us to hold the line every single day by continuing to practice social distancing, wear a mask, and wash your hands.
If there's anything we've learned these past few months is that things can change within hours. We can wake up in the morning hearing there are 0 positive cases, and by the time we go to sleep at night, we can see a spike.
That's why we urge you to please continue the fight, not just for yourself, but for your family and friends.
We can do this together.
Let's all stay ahead of the spread.
This message is brought to you by the KUAM Care Force.
Well, What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. Tonight on the show, we're talking youth football with former resident August Sotelo. He's out there in the 808. He's coaching his sons for flag football. Now, youth football here was canceled, but the show must go on, and a pair of local boys going to be able to showcase their skills out in Hawaii. Check it out. August Sotelo is one of 4 coaches on the Kapolei Bad Boys flag football team coaching staff. The team competes in the Play Sports Hawaii League. Sotelo has 2 boys on the team, 7-year-old Evan Andrew Bloss Sotelo and 6-year-old Aizen Clark Camacho Sotelo. The Bad Boys have had a lot of success in the league, making it to the championship game the past few seasons.
Well, since COVID, I think there's a total of 9 teams right now since COVID. So it's a slow start since then. But prior to that, we had like 18 to 19 teams. But, people are just getting back into it. Very competitive, actually. You got to practice to actually play. The team must practice in order to compete. They're quite aggressive, actually, but it's fun. It preps them to, for the next level, tackle football. So that's what this flag football is all about, just to prep them to play tackle football.
And how has it been, being a coach and having your sons play for your team? I know on the football field, everybody's treated the same, but what's that like, seeing the progression of your sons and just having them on your team as a coach?
It's a lot different. You got to put the daddy thing aside, the daddy coaching aside. So it actually, it's a good motivation for my kids because you see other kids' skill level, and either they compete with them or they want to get better themselves. So, and we don't play daddy football, that's for sure. So if I know that my son is not performing the game day, I pull him out, I take him out, I put another player in. So it's fun. It's fun. It's a little challenging, but fun.
The 2 boys on the same team and them being teammates and interacting with one another. What's that like as, from the sideline, seeing them out there on the football field together?
Whether it's on game day or during practices, it's rewarding as a parent, and it's nice to see them be able to know each other's strength and play off of that. So like Evan is older and versus Aizen, and with Evan being so aggressive in nature in terms of his hunger for the win and hunger for the touchdown and hunger for that flag, it really helps to show Aizen how to develop that skill, because while he's the youngest on his team, he also is not that assertive or aggressive on the field. So it really helps him to see how he can be through his brother, who he really looks up to.
I know the goal is to eventually make it to the championship, but besides football, you talked about as a coach and as an organization, the main thing is just teaching these young kids life lessons, whether it be in the community and stuff like that, right? So what are some of the things that as coaches you guys try to implement besides the football side?
The effort and hard work is the thing that we can't control. That's the thing that they're lacking sometimes, that their inner motivation is actually what they need. And we try to say that every practice that we could teach you everything that we know about football, but one thing you can't teach is effort and hard work. You know what I mean? It comes within the kids themselves. So we try to do that. So when you go to the next level, high school, intermediate football, tackle football, everything's not given to them and handed to them, that they got to earn it and they got to put effort into it to get what they want. And it goes on with life, Nothing is not just going to be handed to you. You got to get it and earn it.
It's not just about being a player, because their team, for their football club, does a lot of community service work. They not only, last Christmas, they donated to it's called an Ole Manu shelter. It's a transitional shelter. And they donated toys at Christmas time. They donated toiletries. And this was our second donation this past weekend again. So I think from the perspective of their growth, it's not just as a player, but also as an individual or as a kid.
The Triton men's soccer team at the University of Guam signed its first 2 players for the 2020-2021 season. Darren Smart and Jose Timinglo both signed athletic letters of intent and will receive partial tuition grants to play for the Tritons under new head coach Dylan Napati. Smart is a former Guam national team player who represented the island for 4 years in international competitions in Japan and the Philippines. Timinglo is transferring to UOG from Grossmont Community College in San Diego. The Triton men's soccer team will play in the Guam Football Association when it resumes competition.
King's welcomes you back with our King's Time value menus, full of great deals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We hope to see your family soon at King's.
For the Love of Burgers is back with 6 of our most popular burgers, each for just $9.99 for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Take the party home with our new Get It To Go menu. Combo specials and kids meals, pizza, wings, and more. Now available for carryout at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam.
Join KUAM News every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. on TV8 and streaming live on the KUAM News Facebook page for In Full Zoom, a half-hour program zooming in on efforts to rebuild Guam's economy. Nestor Lecanto will interview a panel of guests from the business sector via Zoom to discuss their ideas and suggestions on how the island can rebound from the devastating blow from COVID-19. From struggles to strategies to get Guam back on the road to economic recovery. Check out In Full Zoom Wednesdays on KUAM Digital and KUAM TV8 at 6:30 p.m. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. Check KUAM.com or our mobile news app for additional showtimes.
We're all in this together, and that means we all need to continue to do our part.
Now, we've all done an effective job of containing COVID throughout the Marianas, but we need to continue to maintain to stop the spread.
We can't let our guard down. Each and every one of us are soldiers in this war against COVID-19, and every day is a battle.
It may sound hard to believe, but combating COVID requires us to hold the line every single day by continuing to practice social distancing, wear a mask, and wash your hands.
If there's anything we've learned these past few months is that things can change within hours. We can wake up in the morning hearing there are 0 positive cases, and by the time we go to sleep at night, we can see a spike.
That's why we urge you to please continue the fight, not just for yourself, but for your family and friends.
We can do this together.
Let's all stay ahead of the spread.
This message is brought to you by the KUAM Care Force.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
It's the weekend, of course, so we hope you guys are saying happy birthday to this weekend's birthday celebrants, led off by Jennifer Samante, born on Saturday the 8th. Happy birthday to Jennifer. Happy birthday number 18 to Brianna Iglesias, to our eldest daughter and sister. Love Daddy Ricky, Mommy Therese, Gavin, Kylan, and Aria. To Christopher Iglesias, we also say happy birthday, and this is the youngest brother, wishing our second youngest brother, Christopher, a blessed 52nd birthday. Love the Iglesias families in Washington State, Oregon, and California. Happy birthday to everybody in the Iglesias family. Awesome. Shane Kintutu, St. Nicholas. Happy birthday number 4 to Shane Richard. Wishing you an amazing, blessed day. Love your family. And on Sunday, the day of rest, and we hope 38-year-old Velma Santos takes it easy today. You're older than yesterday, but younger than tomorrow. Hugs and kisses, Zane and Zarai. That is a great and very poetic way to wish someone a happy birthday. So, for all of our birthday celebrants this weekend, the world over, happy birthday to each and every one of you. You deserve your very, very special day. Hope you have a good one.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and your birth date. That's all that we have time for here from Guam's News Network. Thanks for watching and have a safe weekend.